Hello, class. Today we're going to continue our sort of Photoshop lessons of how to do a building in perspective. And we're actually in Photoshop now. So in the last set, we're actually in SketchUp, and I sort of saved out a view. I saved out a JPEG, and I've already opened Photoshop, and I've opened that JPEG in Photoshop, and here we are. We're looking at this, and what we're going to do in this video is we're going to cut out the building out of the SketchUp image and put it into the background image of where it is. And so the second thing that I need to do this is some background or some scene to put this building into. And so I sort of took the easy way out, and I went to Google and I typed in prairie, and I found something nice, and I'll say why I typed in prairie, but you can find whatever scene you want. If you have a nice photograph that you have, that's even better. It'll be higher quality and it'll be sort of your own work, and that would be great. If this were a real building and we had a real site, it would be really great to go out and take photographs of the real site and use them, but this isn't the case. So I think going on to Google and doing a search for a scene that you like works well. But take time, it can take a long time to find the right one, and I'm going to just give you some pointers on what you should do. For this assignment, it's fairly easy if the scene is fairly flat, or at least in the foreground where you're going to put your building is flat. Now if there's mountains in the background or whatever, that might be interesting. So that's one reason why I chose prairie, because I know prairies are typically flat. The other thing is, although you don't necessarily have to, I decided to go with this image because it had some deciduous trees in it, and from our Illustrator work we were working with deciduous trees. I know there's a lot of good images with evergreens or completely no trees or whatever the case might be, and you don't have to match your work really for this assignment, but I'm just sort of thinking through those steps. I'm also thinking about lighting, at least for this first assignment. I just want a generally well lit place, and ones that shadows match the shadows I chose from SketchUp. Now I'll show you what that means. We probably chose something where the sun is behind you, so that your shadows are behind the building for the most part. So that's basically what I want with this image. With that, I generally am choosing something without buildings and things like that, because if I have to match perspectives, like up here, like if I wanted to try to match that perspective or something, you can do it, and in fact in an urban condition you often are doing that, but it just is a level of simplicity. If I don't have to worry about other perspectives, it sort of gives me some flexibility in this image. So I look for no buildings, I look for a flat grassland area, I look for trees that match, I look for shadows that match, and of course the last thing is it needs to be an eye level shot, which most photographs are. I mean, not all. You can be up in a plane or whatever to take a photograph, but if you're standing and you're just taking a photograph looking straight, because that's how I set up my SketchUp model. So this image meets those criterias. And lastly, I'm going to look for pixel size. Now this one is pretty good, almost 4,000 pixels by 2.5K pixels big is not a bad image size. The higher the quality, the better you're going to go. I'd say you don't want to go below 1,000, and even that is somewhat small for your pixel size here. So I right-clicked on it and I saved it to my hard drive. Different browsers have slightly different terminology. Actually, it's save image as in this one. But save it to your hard drive somewhere, and you'll go into Photoshop and you can open that image. Alright, so let me see. Again, I did a few searches here and looked at a few, but this is the one I think I'm going to settle on. And what I'm going to do is, since that's sort of getting close to 4 minutes here, I'm going to end this here, and in the next video I'll pick up with how to combine these two images together, but we're going to start from these two images.